everyone, I'm Ivy. Today we will talk about the M-shaped society. Nowadays, whether we are shopping the clothes or eating in a society, there is often a strong sense of gap between different consumer groups when looking at the different items. High-end and flat prices have become a dividing line. It is the opposite of rich and poor. The rich are always rich, the poor are always poor, and the middle class between them has disappeared. We are aware of the seriousness of this problem, and it has continued to affect us. So we want to learn more about the M-shaped society. Next, we are moving on our purpose. In Taiwan, we all have a deep sense of the M-shaped society. We want to study the origin and cause and understand the problems better and the government's policies so that we can avoid this situation getting worse in the future.
Hello everyone, I'm Jenny. Today we are going to discuss about the M-shaped society. We did some research on the internet and books. First, what is the M-shaped society? This term was first seen in the writings of William Archie in M-shaped society, How American Teams Regain Competitive Advantage. The M-shaped society is also known as an extreme society. In this society, the main body of the society is no longer the middle class. The social wealth and demographic curve will be transformed from an inverted U-shape to an M-shape. Such a society represents that most of the middle class has become the poor. At the same time, the poor and few middle class have narrower and narrower channels to the rich. There are three reasons to the M-shaped society. First, uneven distribution of educational resources. Affected by globalization, people with more resources to acquire knowledge are in the circle of economic winners and enjoy more wealth and income. As a result, the gap between the rich and the poor have gradually widened, and the middle class are decreasing and moving closer to the other two sides. The significant gap of educational resources affects every child's opportunity to move up in society. It affects the future planning and development of students. Rich people can go abroad to participate in competitions in colleges and have a colorful exploration experience without worrying about the economy. But those who don't have the resources have to fight for scholarships in colleges and must work to pay back their student loans. They don't have the time nor resources to explore their interests and broaden their horizons by traveling all corners of the world. Globalization has impacted every country. Globalization has caused many countries' industries to move out. Low-cost labor abroad helps the rich make money. But the middle class and blue-collar class are unable to find a job in their countries due to high hiring costs. This shock impacts lots of aspects of society, such as annual household income, employment opportunities, and the domestic economies of agglomeration has become less and less.
The rapid growth of the wealth of the rich has compressed the living space of the middle class. Firstly, we would like to introduce what is meant by the rich and the middle class. Most of the income of the wealthy is passive income, such as capital gains and cash flow. These kinds of income accumulate quickly and require little tax, whereas most of the middle class rely on active income, such as manual labor. These kind of income means that you must work to get money into your account, meaning if you don't work, you can't make money. In society, the rich rely on the above-mentioned kinds of income to accumulate a lot of wealth and acquire resources in various fields and latest technologies and informations. Relying on these latest technologies, they could sell patents and launch the latest products around the world. As a result, the competitiveness of global small companies continue to decline, and for the middle class, who don't have a lot of capital to begin with, are not sufficient enough to compete with large companies, creating the phenomenon M-shaped society.
Now, let's look at what happened at the USA. Among the bottom 50% of earners, average real annual income after taxes and transfers has only increased 14% since 1970 to just over $27,000 in 2018. By contrast, among the top 0.01% of earners, average income even after taxes and transfers has tripled since 1970, rising by more than 555% from just over 3.5 million to over 24 million.
In 1970, top 0.01%'s income was already much larger than the bottom half at 188 times, but that inequality accelerated to 876 times by 2018. This really shows that while the poor remain poor, the rich got richer.
Well, M-shaped society is not just observed in the US. Among the more than 55 million people in Japan's total labor force, the number of middle-income earners with an annual salary of more than 4 million yen has fallen by more than 4 million over the past 10 years, while the number of low-income groups has increased by more than 4 million. At the same time, the number of wealthy people earning more than 20 million yen has increased by more than 22,000 people, representing the characteristics of M-shaped society. Now back to Taiwan.
In 2020, the average disposable income of each household is 1.08 million Taiwan dollars, an annual increase of 1.9%. But the gap between the highest 20% and the lowest 20% of households' average disposable income widens to 6.13 times, compared to 4.17 times in the 1980s.
In conclusion, we should have a better understanding of what M-shaped society is so that it is easier for us to adapt and not be afraid. Therefore, we must wake up and quickly adjust our mindset to respond to the advent of M-shaped society. Not only is individual effort needed, but also help from the government. Only then can we live a better life in today's rapidly changing society. Thank you very much for listening to our group presentation about M-shaped societies. We hope that the presentation that we gave will be meaningful and help everyone to understand a little bit more of what is happening in our world. Once again, thank you very much and have a nice day.